got a spell on me, little mama, so please don't go too far. You got magic in your eyes, you got magic in your step, you got magic in your walk. I feel magic when you're near. You got magic in your eyes, you got magic in your step, you got magic in your walk. I feel magic when you're near me. Hey, let's take a break for a minute. Let me take a drink for a minute, girl. Cause I ain't never met a girl like you, the type to make my dreams come true. Yeah, gotta keep you by my side.
Peace, love, and namaste to all. Welcome to my first video on YouTube. So, to all the newcomers and people who don't follow me on Instagram, welcome to She Didi's loc page. Now, on my loc page, I basically will be discussing freeforming or semi-freeforming, which is obviously what I do. It's a lot of confusion when it comes to the maintenance and care of freeform locs. They're not that different from caring of, maintenance locs, which I call them, or fashion locs. No offense to anyone. I have been officially locked for 4 years, and throughout the beginning process, I retwisted like every few months. It was every 3 months or so. So I was extremely lazy. Didn't want to deal with all of that sitting underneath a dryer. Those metal clips burning my scalp. It was a no for me. So I would always hesitate to go and get my hair retwisted. And I believe it was toward almost the end of 2017 that I decided I'm not going to retwist my hair for an entire year. And I went through some very drastic changes to my locks in between then and now. For those of you who follow me on my Instagram, big shout out to you. Thank you for tuning in, subscribing. But yes, my followers have seen the difference. I posted the difference of my hair then and now. And from then I've been doing a yearly retwist since. So I just stay like this, completely natty, completely dread, and it works for me. My hair has gotten so much volume and so much thickness, and it's so much healthier now than it was while I was constantly retwisting. What else? I am thinking about completely freeforming. I retwisted my hair in August for my birthday, and this is how it is now. This is what we're dealing with right now, from August until then. And I'm seriously thinking about having a go at it and just completely giving up retwisting at all. Ooh, we'll see how it goes. I am not making any promises yet, but it's definitely, on my list of things to at least attempt or try. One thing I will say, freeform locks are the easiest, or semi-freeform locks are the easiest there is. I'm not particularly fond of the parted look. I do like styles, and sometimes I see some my fellow loc goddesses and loc kings wearing these styles, and it's like, yo, that's crazy, and it's so dope and so cool. And then when it comes to me doing it, I'm like, I'll just let you guys do that, and I'm just gonna, stick with this. I do style my hair from time to time, and with the styling, I would just retwist it for that night. Like if I'm doing an up-to bun for a special occasion, I retwist it with just water, and by the next day or 2 days, I completely throw my whole retwist away because I moisten my hair, a spritz bottle, which I don't have right now, and I just basically wake my roots all the way back up from the slumber they were in the retwist. Okay. I will say it is a lifestyle choice for me. It's not a fashion thing. I mean, kind of obvious. This is not very fashion forward. And with that being said, everyone starts their loc journey for different reasons, different purposes, and it's not for us to understand why this person did this or why this person is doing that particular way. You know, we're all about acceptance and love and oneness, you know. With the semi-free form, let me give you a few facts and do's and don'ts. Me, personally, I don't sleep with anything on my head. And, you know, you should sleep with a satin wrap or satin cap as to avoid picking up lint. I will agree with the lint part because I did have to battle some lint early on when I, you know, was early on in my journey, and I had to like do some serious set of ACV, rinse, and soaks to get that lint out. I will advise you sleeping with the cap for that. Other than that, no caps needed. You know, if you don't want to pick up lint, or if you actually have neat locks and you want to keep them neat, then yes. Products used. Ooh. I am working on my own brand of shampoo and conditioner. I'm not really working on it. I use it, but I am working on making it marketable for everyone else. All organic, made in my luscious green yard full of trees and I won't give out the secret, but I will say it's going to be great. And I feel like all my natural hair customers, you can have locks, you can have a fro. Once your hair is natural, even if your hair is relaxed, it will be healthy for your hair, and it's organic and strictly healthy. And it's the best thing you can do. It's just to love your hair. Maintenance, I will say, is pretty minimal for me, especially. You don't really have to do a lot of maintenance when it comes to freeforming. Just let the hair kind of be. Treat it, condition it. My hair, I moisten my hair. I like to work moisten. But every 2 or 3 days, especially if I'm going somewhere, like if I'm going out tonight, you know, and I'm not feeling this crimpy look, I would have my spritz bottle, and you can put argan oil in it, coconut oil, or I know the popular thing is this rose water. And honestly, any kind of water is good for your hair. I would go back on the salt water. Salt water, you should always take a dunk in the ocean or sea nearby. I'd say about twice a month because salt actually helps. For some reason, I don't know why, but the salt water actually helps to formulate your hair and it keeps it locked in. For some reason, I don't understand. But for the most part, my spray bottle is filled with just regular water, just regular tap water, purified, and I would just spritz my hair and just dampen it and wet it, and that retains a lot of moisture, and it also helps my locks to swell, because when you retwist your hair often, it stays about this pinky size, it stays fine, it stays minimal, and the hair doesn't swell. The lock itself doesn't expand and swell, but once you add water to it, it puffs right up. And I think that whole process of puffing up and me leaving it puffed up is why my locks are so thick. I did not intend for them to be this thick when I started out, because when I started with like this length, 2-strand twists, and they were sitting right there, and I'm like, oh my god, what did I do? But I stuck with it. I never had extensions. I never used any kind of false things on my hair. I just grew it out naturally from then till now. I've had colors. I've been bleached. These front few strands, I don't know if you can see, they do have a tint of pink and or green. These were green and pink and blue. I had these. I've done works to my hair, but my hair is still healthy. My scalp is still good. There's no flaking, no dryness. My hair is very soft to the touch, very soft to the touch. When people who I skeptically let touch my locks, like, oh my god, it's so soft. I'm like, yes, it's not supposed to be hard, you know. And I think the freeforming does that as well. You know, your hair expands. I feel like your hair is part of me, and I'll just let it be. Let it do it once, you know. It's one less thing that I have to deal with, one. And I'm not really concerned about the formalities of it. I'm not worried about how messy it may look to some people, how some people may see it as a, oh my god, oh. That's not my concern, you know. I am not here to be acceptable and pleasing to anyone, honestly. If you find me acceptable and pleasing, bless you, thank you. And if you don't, sure, there are other people with locks who you don't mind following and being acceptable and pleasing, you know. or them being acceptable and pleasing for you. There is a stereotype when it comes to freeform locks, and even the term dread. You know, I know a lot of people don't like the term dread. Some people say that it was given to us. I'm not sure who us exactly is, as a derogatory term, that they dreaded our hair, and it looks dreadful actually. And growing up in the Caribbean, that is not a factor for us. I've grown up with people who have been locked from I was 5 years old. And back then, it was not a hairstyle. You would find few people walking around with locks. And when they do, is normally wrapped up in a turban, which is how I do go to work. My hair is completely wrapped up sometimes. I just wrap it all the way up. And it was a religion and a lifestyle choice. It wasn't for fashion or because they were cute. If you saw someone with locks, chances are they are Rastafari or on some type of spiritual or religious journey that entails the locks, and they would probably call their hair dreads. And this is coming from roots with meaning. So personally, I don't see a problem with the word dread. I've been growing up with it. I guess it only means something dreadful to you if you want it to, honestly. But I would say people who have had their locks, for a significant amount of time, especially older folks, they don't see the term dread as something dreadful. You know, they wear it with pride. They say my dreads pride. So sometimes I will refer to my hair as dreads, my locks. You know, and it is what it is. Knowing the history of the hair, it's more understandable as to why certain people like myself don't get offended by it. Because I will say sometimes this dread thing is kind of like a new thing, in a sense of when it became popular and boom, everyone wanted locks. A lot of sensitivity came with it, and then everyone were like, oh, don't call my hair dread, it's not dreadful. And the people who have it for significance or spiritual ties or meanings don't care about the fact that you call it dreads. They call it dreads themselves. So on that topic, I will be calling my hair dreads from time to time. So if you're gonna tune into my page, be prepared for it. What else should I say? I don't put oils or creams in my hair. My conditioner does that for me. I don't like coating my hair with a lot of heavy oils. And when you do coat your hair with oils, sometimes the dryness that's in your hair is trapped by the oil that you put over it. So it's not moistening, it's not rejuvenating, it's locking in dryness and brittleness and all of that. What else is there? I will have a little confession. I don't wash my hair once a month. I do not. My hair doesn't really carry a scent. I don't sweat, and because I have it wrapped up so much of times, especially when I'm at work, I wash it every 6 to 7 weeks with my own brand shampoo and conditioner. And I will say, no one can tell. Like, no one is like, oh my god, your hair stinks. So if you're one of those people who don't wash your hair every 2 weeks, you shouldn't wash your hair every 2 weeks, honestly. You're stripping your hair of the natural oils and ingredients and juices that keeps your hair shiny and lustful and beautiful. So I would say once a month is okay. Or you can be like me and just wash your hair when you feel like, or when you think that it's getting frowsy or stink. I have had a few of my Instagrammers ask me constantly about maintenance, and this is why I did this video. Is like, there's literally nothing much that needs to be done with freeform locks. I'm gonna have to give my hair another dose of coloring because the colors are trying to peach. I may just leave it. Oh, and the reason I stopped coloring my hair, because I had blonde streaks in the front first, the platinum. I wanted this rogue look, but it required too much bleaching, and I'm like, so I doused it with a few colors, and it was good for a couple months until colors kept fading, and I kept having to apply more and more color, more and more dye, and after like third month I was like, you know what, no, this is not for me. This is far too much maintenance, and I do not want to constantly be putting my locks through that type of stress and distress of coloring and chemicals and all that. So I decided to go back to dark, front kid back to dark, and I just did these in the back because I have to have some type of color now. So I did these. This is a combination of mine, apparently. Yes, my locks have combined in some very weird ways over the time. I just put the 3 strands of pop of color, and with freeforming you will get that. You will have the small locks combine with other small locks. Sometimes you try to combine with huge locks, and then you end up with this leg thing going on. But I think it's really cute. I started out with, I think, about 10 rows in the front of my head. Now I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. This is my favorite. It's one that has 3 legs, and a lot of my front locks are combinations at this point where I just let them be. This one is starting to combine right here. I'm gonna let it be and let it just do its thing, because the hair is life. Hair is life. It's living. It's a living thing, and be like the best way to help nurture it. Let it be. With my hair though, to stop it from all matting together into one huge clump of locks. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen it where people's hair just mat together, and it's just it's really pretty sometimes, but sometimes it can be very intimidating. What I do is simply wet my hair, and I separate my hair once a month. I wet it. I should have brought my bottle with me, but I didn't, so we're gonna do this old-fashioned way. I will do another video demonstrating how I separate my locks while freeforming. Okay, and that is my first video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment, and tell a friend. Bye.